Imagine moving into your dream ranch only to have a nosy HOA Karen try to evict your wife for no reason. Then she calls the cops, unaware your wife's an FBI agent with secrets that'll turn her world upside down. If you love jaw-dropping HOA drama, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and ring the bell for more wild neighborhood sagas. Let's dive into this crazy story. The sun dipped low over the rolling hills of Willow Creek Ranch, casting a golden glow across the sprawling property that Emma and Daniel had dreamed of for years. After a decade in the city, the couple had finally escaped the concrete jungle for this slice of paradise. A 10-acre ranch with a charming farmhouse, a barn, and endless fields of wildflowers. Emma, a seasoned FBI agent, craved the quiet after years of high-stakes investigations, while Daniel, a freelance architect, saw the ranch as his canvas for a new chapter. They'd barely unpacked their boxes when the trouble began. The Willow Creek Homeowners Association, a small but iron-fisted group led by Patricia Wentworth, known to locals as Patty the Enforcer, had already set its sights on the newcomers. Patty, a woman in her late 50s with a perm as tight as her grip on the neighborhood, ruled the HOA with an obsession for control. She'd been president for a decade, her authority unchallenged, her clipboard a weapon of bureaucracy. The ranch, technically part of the HOA's jurisdiction due to a decades-old zoning quirk, was her latest fixation. Emma and Daniel, unaware of the storm brewing, were simply thrilled to be home. Patty's first visit came on a crisp Saturday morning, just 3 days after the couple moved in. She marched up the gravel driveway, her sensible loafers crunching with purpose, her eyes scanning the property like a hawk. The ranch's rustic charm, the weathered barn, the wildflower patches, the slightly overgrown fence line, offended her sense of order. She'd already decided the new owners were trouble, based solely on the moving truck's muddy tires parked on the street. Emma, still in sweatpants from unpacking, answered the door to find Patty clutching a thick binder labeled Willow Creek HOA Regulations. Patty's smile was all teeth, her voice dripping with condescension as she launched into a lecture about grass height, fence maintenance, and the unacceptable pile of unpacked boxes visible through the garage window. Emma, trained to read people, sensed the woman's need for dominance but kept her cool, nodding politely while mentally filing Patty away as a nuisance. Daniel, peering from the kitchen, found the encounter amusing, unaware of how quickly it would escalate. Over the next week, Patty's visits became relentless. She'd appear unannounced, citing vague complaints from concerned neighbors about the couple's property. The wildflowers were unkempt. The barn's red paint was non-compliant. The couple's dog, a gentle golden retriever named Max, was allegedly disturbing the peace with his occasional barks. Each time, Emma handled Patty with the same calm professionalism she used on suspects, but the HOA president's demands grew bolder. Patty started leaving official notices taped to the front door, each one more threatening than the last. One warned of fines for unauthorized landscaping. Another claimed the couple's mailbox violated some obscure color code. Daniel, usually easygoing, began to bristle at the harassment, but Emma urged patience. She'd dealt with worse: cartel informants, corrupt officials, even rogue agents. A suburban dictator with a clipboard didn't scare her. Yet Patty's fixation was starting to feel personal. The tipping point came 2 weeks later. Patty, armed with a new complaint about the couple's excessive outdoor lights, spotted Emma in the backyard training with a punching bag. Emma's athleticism, her precise movements, her quiet intensity, it all unnerved Patty, who thrived on intimidating others. She scribbled furiously in her binder, muttering about suspicious behavior. That evening, a certified letter arrived, demanding Emma provide proof of residency or face immediate eviction proceedings. The letter, signed by Patty as HOA president, cited a bylaw about unauthorized occupants. It was absurd. Emma owned the ranch with Daniel, their names both on the deed. But Patty, emboldened by her unchallenged reign, seemed to believe she could bend reality to her will. Daniel laughed off the letter, assuming it was a bluff, but Emma's instincts kicked in. She'd seen this kind of power trip before. Patty wasn't just a nuisance, she was dangerous in her delusion. The next morning, Emma dug into the HOA's bylaws, her FBI training guiding her through the fine print. The document was a labyrinth of contradictions, clearly written to give Patty unchecked power. Emma found the eviction clause buried in a section about community standards, so vaguely worded it could mean anything Patty wanted. Meanwhile, Patty escalated her campaign. She began rallying neighbors, spreading rumors that Emma was a squatter, possibly involved in shady activities. The wildflower field became a drug garden in her tales, the barn a front for illegal operations. Most neighbors dismissed her, accustomed to her theatrics, but a few of her loyal followers, retirees with too much time and too little sense, started watching the ranch with binoculars. Emma noticed the glint of lenses from across the street, her training making her hyper-aware of surveillance. She didn't tell Daniel, not wanting to worry him, but she began documenting everything. Patty's visits, the notices, the rumors. If this was a game, Emma was ready to play. By the third week, Patty's obsession reached a fever pitch. She filed a formal complaint with the county, claiming the ranch was in violation of multiple codes. She demanded an inspection, hoping to force Emma out. When the county inspector, a tired man named Carl, arrived, he found nothing wrong. The ranch was well maintained, the couple's paperwork in order. But Patty, undeterred, cornered Carl in the driveway, insisting Emma was an imposter who didn't belong. Carl, unimpressed, left with a shrug, but Patty's next move was bolder. She called the sheriff's department, reporting a trespasser at the ranch. She claimed Emma had no legal right to be there, spinning a tale of forged documents and suspicious behavior. The call was reckless, even for Patty, but she was too far gone in her crusade to care. She stood at the edge of the property, arms crossed, waiting for the police to haul Emma away. What she didn't know was that Emma's FBI credentials were about to turn this petty drama into something far bigger. The sheriff's deputies arrived that afternoon, their cruiser kicking up dust on the gravel road. Patty watched from her perch, smugly confident. Emma, alerted by a neighbor's text, stepped onto the porch, her badge already in hand. The deputies, expecting a routine call, were caught off guard when Emma introduced herself as Special Agent Emma Larson. She presented her credentials, her tone calm but commanding. The deputies, suddenly out of their depth, listened as Emma explained the situation. The harassment, the false complaints, the eviction threats. Patty's smugness faded as she overheard snippets of the conversation. The deputies radioed their supervisor, who confirmed Emma's status within minutes. The call wasn't just a mistake, it was a humiliation for Patty. The deputies left, advising her to stop wasting their time. Emma, still composed, gave Patty a look that could freeze fire. For the first time, Patty felt a flicker of doubt. But the story was far from over. Emma had only begun to unravel the web Patty had woven, and what she'd uncover next would shake Willow Creek to its core. Emma didn't waste time savoring her victory. Her FBI instincts told her Patty's actions weren't just petty, they were calculated, possibly hiding something deeper. She began investigating Patty's reign over the HOA, pulling records from the county and cross-referencing them with her own resources. What she found was a pattern of intimidation stretching back years. Patty had bullied other homeowners into compliance, using fines and threats to force sales or silence dissent. The HOA's bank account, controlled solely by Patty, showed irregularities. Large withdrawals labeled as community improvements with no receipts. Emma suspected embezzlement, but proving it would take time. Meanwhile, Patty, humiliated by the sheriff's visit, doubled down. She sent a new letter to every homeowner, accusing Emma of impersonating a federal agent and demanding a special meeting to vote on her expulsion. The audacity was staggering, but Emma saw it for what it was, desperation. Daniel, now fully aware of the stakes, urged Emma to go easy, worried about the stress. But Emma was in her element, her training kicking into high gear. She attended the HOA meeting, held in the community center, where Patty presided like a queen. The room was tense, neighbors whispering as Emma walked in, her presence commanding silence. Patty launched into a tirade, waving her binder like a scepter, but Emma remained unfazed. She'd already contacted a colleague at the FBI's white-collar crime unit, who was reviewing the HOA's financials. As Patty ranted, Emma's phone buzzed with a message. The colleague had found evidence of fraud, transfers to an offshore account in Patty's name. The meeting ended with no vote as neighbors, sensing Patty's unraveling, began to question her. Emma left without a word, knowing the real battle was just beginning. Patty, unaware of the noose tightening, grew erratic. She started following Emma, parking her sedan across from the ranch, taking photos of the property. Emma, trained in counter-surveillance, spotted her every time but let her think she was unnoticed. She wanted Patty to overplay her hand. Late one night, Emma caught Patty sneaking onto the ranch, peering into the barn with a flashlight. It was a bold move, one that confirmed Emma's suspicions. Patty was looking for something to use against her, maybe even planting evidence. Emma didn't confront her. She didn't need to. She had cameras installed around the property, capturing every move. The footage showed Patty's car, her face, her frantic search. It was enough to build a case, but Emma wanted more. She wanted to know why Patty was so obsessed with the ranch. The answer came a week later. When Emma's colleague sent her a bombshell, the ranch sat on land tied to a decades-old zoning dispute, one Patty had profited from by strong-arming previous owners into selling cheap. The land was valuable, potentially worth millions if rezoned for development. Patty's embezzlement was likely funding a scheme to seize control of properties like Emma's. The HOA's vague bylaws, the harassment, the eviction threats, it was all part of a long con. Emma realized Patty wasn't just a busybody. She was a predator. Armed with this knowledge, Emma prepared to confront the HOA at the next meeting, ready to expose Patty's crimes. But Patty, sensing the walls closing in, was about to make a move so reckless it would change everything. The ranch, the neighborhood, and Emma's quiet life were on the brink of chaos. If you're hooked on this wild HOA saga, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for the next chapter. Things are about to get even crazier. Don't miss it.